Good morning. Today I'll be presenting on the topic nuclear reactions and nuclear reactors. My name is Alanka K. Ashwin, 18BME1289. This is my third digital assignment for power plant engineering. So about the topic, we shall be covering nuclear fission, nuclear fusion, then nuclear reactor and its components. What is a nuclear reaction? A nuclear reaction occurs when two nuclei or a nucleus and a subatomic particle are bombarded to get one or more nuclei which is different from the parent nuclei. What is binding energy? Binding energy is the minimum amount of energy needed for separation of the nucleons or the separation of neutrons and protons within the nucleus. So the minimum amount of energy invested in that is termed as binding energy. So thus, with this as a parameter for within a nuclear reaction, do we decide which element can be used as a fuel for a nuclear reaction process. The curve which we are seeing in the screen is a nuclear binding energy curve plotted between number of nucleons in the nucleus and the average binding energy of a nucleon for the entire periodic table of all elements with all its isotopes being taken in. Starting from hydrogen till uranium, we have the entire curve plotted which reaches its peak in Fe56, Fe58 and Ni52 and subsequently drops down to uranium-235, uranium-238. The reason attributed for this curve and its importance is the fact that it helps one decide with the increase in binding or in decreasing binding energy which will be more feasible for the processes to occur. Moving on, nuclear fusion. Nuclear fusion, as the name suggests, is the joining of the two nuclei to form one nucleus. As shown on the screen, deuterium and tritium, when under subjected for fusion, form helium, which is different from the parent nuclei and release a neutron and also energy because it's an exothermic process. This is an example of a nuclear fusion. Nuclear fusion generally can occur when elements such as Ni62, Fe56, Fe58 are used. Why these elements? These elements which have a high amount of binding energy can be used for the process of nuclear fusion. Thus, binding energy plays a crucial role in selection of the element for the process of nuclear reaction to occur. Now that we saw in the previous example or shown here, the amount of energy released is pretty high or the energy is being released. How will one get to know whether that the process is going to be endothermic, whether the energy is going to be taken or exothermic, whether the energy is going to be released? If nuclei which are lighter to the standard elements which are used for fusion, that is lighter to Fe56, Fe58 and Ni62, they shall be having a large binding energy per nucleon and thereby the process will become nuclear exothermic and energy shall be released. Whereas when the heavier nuclei are used compared to Fe56, Fe58 and Ni62, then there is an intake of energy and energy is taken in rather than being given out. It is endothermic. Now that we have seen what nuclear fusion and how it occurs, what is the two important forces which are responsible in this process is the nuclear force and the Coulomb's force. What is the function of the nuclear force? The nuclear force is responsible to make sure that the nucleons are staying together, whereas the Coulomb force is responsible for the repulsion amongst the protons within the nucleus. Though, as we know that these forces are opposite to one another and oppose one another in nature, they have a mutual interplay which is responsible for the process of fusion to occur. Now that we have seen nuclear fusion and how it occurs, if to be performed in reality, what are the conditions which one must meet? There are three important parameters which one shall meet. The first, the temperature must be hot enough. It cannot occur in room temperature, so the appropriate high amount of temperature at which the nucleons can be bombarded has to be met. Secondly, high ion density. The nucleons must be of high ion density. And tertiarily, the ions must be held together to make sure that at high temperature they don't confine due to high confinement time they don't cool during this process occurring. Now let's see what's nuclear fission. Nuclear fission is the exact opposite of nuclear fusion. Here one nucleus divides into two nuclei. Thus, this process is also termed as a radioactive decay, and the products which are formed out of this process is also responsible for the release of extremely high radioactive waste, and the byproducts itself are extremely highly radioactive. Hence, this process must happen in a perfect manner and must also be made sure that they are under exposure. As shown on the screen, if, for example, if uranium 236, which is the fuel used here, is bombarded by a high velocity uranium 235 element, it results in the formation of krypton 92 and barium 141 and release of neutrons and energy as well. These are extremely radioactive elements which are released and are also different from the parent nucleus. Thus, this is a uniqueness to the nuclear fission process. Nuclear fission occurs by the division of one nucleus into two nuclei. But it necessarily doesn't have to be always two nuclei. It could be more than two. It could be three or four, which is termed as a tertiary or a tetrary fission. But in general and in ease, binary fission, which is the division of one nucleus into two nuclei, is more prevalent and common and easier as well. The biggest drawback of this process is the radioactive waste generated from this process, and the products which are formed out of this nuclear fission, they themselves are extremely radioactive compared to their parent nuclei. Now, as we see in screen, here we see there is a chain which has been created. If we start with this uranium 235 element, which is bombarded by a high velocity neutron, there is a release of two elements, 1 and 2, along with two neutrons which are released as known in the process of fission. But these of high velocity subsequently bombard the product itself, which then becomes a reactant for another process of third generation, which again proceeds for a fourth generation process. Thus, from first generation, we go ahead with second, third, and fourth generation. There is a chain of reaction formed. This is called a nuclear chain reaction, which is unique to nuclear fission and which is not found in nuclear fusion. This is a very important concept as it is relevant in modern times and is also responsible for production of huge amount of heat, which can be used in various channels as in the case of nuclear reactors. This concept is also a principle applied in the creation of atomic bombs, which is thereby a process which is also misused if in the wrong hands. Now that we have seen what nuclear fission and fusion is, let's understand what's the exact difference between both these nuclear reactor processes. In nuclear fission, a heavy nucleus breaks down into lighter nuclei compared to a nuclear fusion where two lighter nuclei become a heavy nucleus. The exact opposite. Nuclear fission can be a chain process as we saw. Nuclear fusion cannot be. Nuclear fission uh, is occurring when a heavy high velocity neutron is bombarded into a heavy nucleus, whereas in fusion at high temperature it occurs. Nuclear fission is controllable and nuclear fusion is not controllable. Fission's greatest disadvantage is the production of radioactive waste and radioactive products in comparative fusion, which does not produce radioactive waste. Another drawback for nuclear fission is the high uh, cost raw materials such as plutonium and uranium, and also for the fact that they are scarcely located compared to nuclear fusion, which uses ferrous or nickel, which is abundantly available and is comparatively cheaper. Now that we have seen what nuclear fission and fusion is, let's see what a nuclear reactor is. Nuclear reactor works on the principle of nuclear fission. It is a device that is used to initiate and control a chain nuclear reaction. Chain nuclear reaction is a unique quality of nuclear fission and thereby it becomes the principle for this process. What are we trying to do with a nuclear reactor is it is a setup where a controlled chain nuclear fission reaction occurs, and with the help of a coolant and certain other components, we convert this heat which is released through this chain reaction process into electricity. As we are able to see in this setup, we have one containment structure, then we have the electricity generator and a cooling tower. Within the containment structure, we have a reactor pressure vessel, we have control rods, we have the pressure tank, we have the steam generator, a steam line which connects to the turbine, which connects to the condenser and the electric generator, which converts goes to the power line, and this has a cooling tower. Now that we have seen the exact setup of a nuclear reactor, we have to understand that the main job of the reactor is to house and control a nuclear fission. The fuel used is uranium. Uranium oxide is arranged in layers to form a fuel tube, and around 200 such tubes are fit in this reactor pressure vessel, where the control rods are also fit to make sure that the process which is occurring is controllable. And subsequently, after the heat is released from this process, the coolant, which is the water here, and is also the moderator, which we look at what is water moderator um, is flown through a pressure tank and then goes into the steam generation for the formation of steam, which then goes through the turbine, where turbine work occurs and thereby mechanical energy is produced, which is then converted into electricity or electrical energy and passed through the transmission line. The steam is then condensed in a condenser and is turned into water and is cooled down in a cooling tower and let out. This is the exact setup of how a nuclear plant looks, with these being the major components: containment structure, control rods, reactor, steam generator, steam line, pump, generator, turbine, cooling water condenser, and a cooling tower. The fuel, as seen, is uranium, which is used as the basic fuel. Moderator. Moderator is also the water, just like the coolant, but the main function of the moderator is to make sure that it is able to sustain the chain reaction within the control vessel. What are control rods? Control rod is used to make sure that we are able to control the rate of reaction occurring within the reactor's core. And coolant is, as you know, water, but also sometimes we use graphite or any other on the basis of the necessities and the availability. Pressure vessel is used to pressurize the steam which is generated and then sent to the turbine, where steam rotates the turbine and we have mechanical energy which is generated, which is then sent into the electric generator for the production of electricity. Now, one thing we did see here is the containment structure. Containment structure is present to make sure that we do not uh, have some sort of a blast which results in a catastrophe, because it's a nuclear reaction and we are dealing with radioactive material which may, if exposed, can cause and have lethal effects till generations. Hence, a containment structure which is made of at least a meter long iron rod with at least a thickness of 1 meter is in which the process completely occurs. So these are the basic components of a nuclear reactor. These are the type of nuclear reactors: a pressurized water reactor and a boiling water reactor. As the name suggests, the pressurized water reactor is where we have the water pressurized at a temperature and then sent for process, and in boiling water reactor, the water is boiled in the reactor and then sent for the process. Finally, to conclude, what is the nuclear situation in India? India at the present has 22 nuclear reactors located in 7 nuclear power plants and has also proposal for 7 more power plants which is under construction. At the moment, 6,780 megawatt of electricity is produced, which accounts to 3.22% of the electricity generated in India, and is thereby the fifth largest producer of electricity in India. With this, I would like to conclude and thank you all. Have a good day. Thank you.